The ERi-TV news broadcast crew and I, Dalit Sahaya, are now ready for your daily news briefing at 10:30 local time. But first, let us catch up with the major headlines. President of African Development Bank toured development projects. Eritrean Defense Forces Sports Week. On our local news, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, President of African Development Bank, accompanied by President Isaias Afwerki, toured development projects in Dubaroa subzone. The tour covered the dams of Mislam in Logo, as well as water and soil conservation, agricultural infrastructure, agro-industry, solar energy, system and dairy farming in the area. Upon visiting the development projects, the delegation was provided briefings by the heads of the experts of the project about construction of dams with internal capacity and potential they have in economic development of the country. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina expressed his gratitude for getting to observe the first hand of the Eritrea's development initiatives with internal capacity and his expectation that the capacity registered will significantly contribute to the country's people and government fulfilling their vision. Dr. Gergis Taklemikael, Minister of Finance and National Development, Mr. Hagos Gabrihiwet, Head of PFDJ Economic Affairs, Mr. Getachew Merhatyon, Head of Cartographic Information, and Mr. Kabrab Abraham, Manager of Livestock and Crop Corporation, were also present during the tour. On September 1st, the Eritrean Defense Forces 5th Sports Week officially kicked off in Karen. Ministers Ambassador Abdallah Musa, the Governor of Ansaba Region, General Philip Oswald Yohannes, the Chief of Staff of Eritrean Defense Forces, and Army commanders were present at the opening ceremony. Colonel Solomon Siyum, head of the Promotion and Information Division at the Ministry of Defense, stated that sports competitions between Eritrean Defense Forces members have been going for 23 years and that the COVID-19 epidemic briefly put an end to the sports week. There will be 5 different sports competing throughout the course of the 51 days. Eritrean nationals in Riyadh and its environs, Saudi Arabia and Doha, Qatar, commemorated 62nd anniversary of the beginning of the armed struggle for independence. The commemoration event conducted on 31st August at the premises of the Embassy of Eritrea in Riyadh featured cultural and artistic performances depicting the day. Speaking at the occasion, Mr. Abdurrahman Imam, chairman of the Eritrean community in Riyadh and its environs, gave briefing on the deep meaning of the day to the Eritrean people. Likewise, nationals residing in Doha, Qatar, on their part, enthusiastically commemorated the 62nd anniversary of the armed struggle for independence on 1st September. At the event, Mr. Mohammed Osman Musa, First Secretary at the Eritrean Embassy, Mr. Rashid Yassin, Chairman of the Eritrean Community, and Mr. Tahir Mohammed Are, Chairman of the Holidays Coordinating Committee, delivered speeches depicting the day. The event was highlighted by cultural and artistic performances. Dear viewers, we'll be back with the international news shortly. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. At least 48 civilians and 1 policeman were killed on Wednesday in the Democratic Republic of Congo in a military operation to prevent a demonstration against the UN. The toll from Wednesday operation and its violence in this violence-ridden region was 48 dead and 75 wounded on the demonstrators' side, as well as 1 policeman killed. These violent events are part of the series of attacks and demonstrations against the UK mission in Democratic Republic of Congo, accused by ineffectiveness in the fight against armed groups. The province of the North Kivu, bordering Rwanda and Uganda, is the heart of the armed violence that has been going for nearly 30 years in eastern Congo, with repeated rebellion and constant humanitarian tragedies. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan held talks in Moscow on Thursday. Their meeting came before the summit between the Russian and Turkish President Vladimir Putin and Recep Tayyip Erdogan planned in Russia. Putin and Erdogan are expected to meet in Russia, resort of Sochi, on September 4th. They primarily discussed Black Sea grain exports to Turkish sources to Reuters on Thursday. The date and location are officially confirmed yet. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said to Putin and Erdogan were set to meet soon and that the announcement will be made later. On our last news, the United Nations Security Council on Thursday renewed the mandate for its peacekeeping force in Lebanon for another year after tense debate around the troops' freedom of movement. The United Nations interim force in Lebanon, in place since 1978, is tasked with to create buffer between Israel and Lebanon, which are technically at war. Thursday's resolution passed with 13 votes in favor and keeps the force in place until August 31st, 2024. The mandate is largely identical to the last year's agreement on allowing freedom of movement for approximately 10,000 peacekeepers stationed in the country. The vote, which was originally scheduled for Wednesday but postponed to further negotiations, came a few hours before the mission authorized were set to expire. Dear viewers, we've come to the end of tonight's news. Let's have a quick recap of the headlines. President of African Development Bank toured development projects. Eritrean Defense Force Ports Week in Kayan Subzone. China-Benin elevate relationship to level of strategic partnership. And India launched rockets to observe sun days after historic moon landing. That is all our local and international news, dear viewers. Thanks for watching and have a good night.